Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, July 30, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. With deep trust, we can evolve as spiritual beings, and without it, we are lost. We can ascend to the point where we are trusting that every experience that life brings us is absolutely divine and perfect. Even if an experience may be painful, the greater, deep, eternal love is known and felt hidden inside. A trusting heart can quietly realizes how a fear is our greatest teacher. Always invoking a higher state of spiritual awareness into our future so that we stop pretending to be these small, powerless, ego-driven beings and start living that truly amazing life we so love. Everything that we do is a choice by us, nobody else. Now, sometimes we choose without knowing at all. We just decide we're going to go in a certain direction, and so we go in that direction. Other times we clearly will view options, and then we'll decide which one we feel is the best direction for us. It's the same thing as spiritual ascension. Spiritual ascension is about, all right, we've understood and comprehended the material physical world to a certain extent. Some of us have. Others are coming in. And we know that we've been there several times, many times. We also have this awareness deep within that it's the energetic field, this universe, is communicating with us that it's time that we move into spiritual awareness. And a lot of people get that mixed up with religion. And it's so far removed from religion. It has nothing to do with religion. Spiritual awareness means that we discover that we know that we are not the body at all. We know that the body is a carrier for us. No different than you go and put on a suit of new clothes, right? It's so different. Eventually those clothes wear out and you have to get new ones. This is just like our bodies. Eventually our bodies wear out and we get new ones. Now you have a set of clothes, right? You wear those clothes. You might get, it's comfortable, and whenever you put it on, it feels great, and that type of thing. But, some of us will wear something till it's almost falling off of us wholly, and it's because it's so comfortable, right? Eventually, we get rid of it, and we get something new. These bodies, very similar. We don't become attached to the bodies, but we know that we look at these bodies and say, I must be knowledgeable about this body so I know how to maintain it, so I know how to keep it functioning at the highest level. So you gain that knowledge, but what's happened to all of us, majority of us, is that through the programming of the societal or social structure throughout generations, it's give it to someone else. Give your body to someone else so that so they tell you what to do with what you've got to do with your body. through spiritual ascension, we take care of the body. You take care of your body. And why is that? Well, because you learn that you have the power of the God within you, in that body, to heal the body. See, but when you give it to someone else, you don't ever go there. You really don't. You just say, oh, I got to go to the doctor and get things taken care of. Let's see what the doctor says. Let's see what the doctor says. And usually people, more and more though, people are becoming more, I don't know, I want to get a second look from someone else. Or I'm gonna learn about this and do this myself. Until, see, when you start practicing healing your body, it doesn't mean that you are fully aware, but you have you're now looking at the fact that you can heal your body. This is the beginning of the understanding that you've got to go spiritual. You go within. Be in the now. Focus on your breath. Relax into the body. Remember, see, what happens when we have something happen to our physical vessel? What happens? Now, normally we don't really pay much attention to anything about that. We just kind of go about our way. But then something occurs that kind of jolts us, and then we start looking at it. And, whoa, what is that? And we start getting concerned. And so we focus on it. Most of the time when we focus on an issue with our bodies, what are we focused on? This is really important. We're focused on what's wrong. Am I going to die? What's going on with me? All these things start flooding in. Now, those are low frequencies, and we're focused on what? The negatives. When you see somebody, or you have a friend that's ill, it really feels, they're not doing well, okay? You worry about them, and you see them not doing well. And as time goes by, in a lot of cases, they leave the body. We've all had that happen. I've had it happen numerous times. But instead, you're looking at their body and you're saying, man, they look healthy, happy. I see them in picture-perfect health. Physical, head to toe, inside and out. Now your ego mind says, well, no, they're not. They're bad. You got to look at how bad they are. This is a choice. So you say, no, I'm looking at them as being healthy and happy, really doing well. I'm not looking at them and focusing on my power on how bad they are. You see what I mean? Now, the difference between superficial and deep within through the heart-mind is that you go within and you actually touch the God that they are within their body. That's what you're doing because it's part of you anyway. So you're just kind of opening the door and letting the fresh air come in. It's been closed for so long, and we're reconnecting. We're connected, but we're reconnecting. So it's not figuratively, it's figuratively, not literal. So we're becoming aware that we've always been one. So when you focus on anything, you got to really realize that you're creating something. Whatever it may be. It's an absolute fact. Whatever you're focused on, you're creating. It doesn't matter what it is. You're creating it. And this is where we look at when we talk about being mindful of our thoughts, right? It's a good idea to master our thoughts. And the only way you do that is in the now. So when you start to master your thoughts, you're aware of what you're sending out. Pretty much. Not everything, but you're getting to the point where you're aware of a lot of the things you're sending out, thought-wise, attention-wise, focus-wise. And then you'll say, I don't care to focus my attention on negatives. This is a negative. This is not a positive. It is a negative energy, frequency. And if I focus on that, I'm going to create it. So you say, you choose, I'm coming from my heart mind. And you do this in meditation, in these global guided meditations. You come from the heart mind. Well, how do you know the difference? In the heart mind, you don't have mind chatter. You don't have worry, stress, and fear. Now, if you do, you're not in the heart mind. You're in the ego mind. See, that's a good thing. It's a positive thing because we then realize just by feeling through the heart mind, we know the difference between ego mind and heart mind. You're in meditation and you feel worried, stressed, and feared. You're not in the heart mind. You are in the ego mind. That's how you tell. It's a feeling that you get. That you know you're in the heart mind and you are at peace. Whenever you're in the heart mind, you're at peace. Truly so. Not artificially, not forced, but you're at peace. And it's like this huge ocean of bliss and joy and happiness and prosperity and abundance and, I mean, lots of good things. Permanent. It's like the difference of choosing between having a nice, long hot shower or running through a raging fire. That's the difference. One feels really good, the other one burn your flesh. They're both hot. Now, when we see this whole civilization, there's a choice here, okay? It's not all this stuff. It isn't. It's not the material physical, which we create. It's not about where you are as far as wealth and prosperity. It has nothing. That's physical material world, which is all temporary. It has everything to do with you discovering who and what you really are in that body. That's our saving grace on this journey. That's our saving grace so that we know that, hey, wait a minute, things aren't going so well. We must focus on the things that we want, the things that we want to go well, and not all the things that are preoccupying us, which are all false. See, we get sucked into this because of emotional. These bodies are emotional. We all know that. So when you decide you're going to entertain the ego mind, then what are you looking at? You're looking at some form of pain, suffering, stress, worry, fear. And that's just to name a few of them. That's what you're looking at. To certain degrees. They aren't always huge and gut-wrenching, but I believe you know what I'm talking about. It's not something that is, ripping and tearing all the time. But isn't it interesting? Do we really, as a civilization, do we really need to go there anymore? In that ego mind? Or do you feel within you that it is time to master the ego mind and to master our thoughts? I mean, we've been flailing around for millions of years, inhabiting different bodies, experiencing a long, long, long time. Now, it doesn't mean we haven't experienced. Now, one might say, well, then, along all those lifetimes, wasn't there one where we discovered who and what we are? Wasn't there one? No. Because if there was, you wouldn't be here right now in that body. Why is that? Because you will have discovered and moved on. Why do you think we have these bodies? So we can learn and experience. Then we learn and experience. We go within. We discover that we're the God in the body. And that's it. Then what do? We move on. We've discovered it or rediscover it, however you want to look at it. So it's not like, hey, wait a minute. This is a total discovery of who and what you are in this lifetime. Many of us are going there. It doesn't mean all of us. We all know that. But many of us are going there. Why? Because we choose to. No one's forcing us. We're starting to realize that, okay, so when I focus on something, I'm going to create it, period. That bottom line. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to create it. See, when you focus on something, you're not thinking about what you want. You aren't. You're just focusing on it, paying attention to it. And as you pay attention to it, you're creating it. It's like some people you come across will say to you that they don't know why their lives are filled with so many challenges. And then why other people's lives don't seem to be that challenging. But see, we're looking at it from different angles. To the person to the being that you're looking at, who you claim their lives are cakewalk compared to your life. But to them, their life is a lot different than how you see it. On the surface, you may say that, well, how come they don't seem to have any problems, issues, worries, stresses, and fears? Like you do. See, it's how we view things for ourselves. It's how we look at things. It's how we look at others, situations, and how we perceive it. Because every one of us is different in that perspective through our programming. It might not be, it's not exact. It's a little bit different on each thing that we view or interpret. Now, when you get to making the decision that you're going to go within, you're going to meditate. Why are you meditating? Because the only way I can leave the ego mind alone, and I can watch it and learn from it. And then I know how to master it. It's the only way. There's no other way. Every which way but loose has been tried over and over again for millions and millions of years. This is the one that works. So you're going to do something that works. Now, sometimes people will go into meditation and they're in the ego mind. They don't know it. Well, as I said, one of the biggest things that we're challenged with is letting go. It's very difficult for us to let go. It's like you ever played tug of war when you were a kid. We would have something called field day. And once a year we would all, usually it was in the, obviously because of school, it was in springtime. And we would all have events. We'd go outdoors and we would have different physical events and stuff. And we would call it field day. And for us, very rarely do we have field day where we let everything go and we just have fun. Not ridiculous, you know what I mean, but we just let it go. We just ease into ourselves and just float. Wouldn't that be interesting? Instead of these crazy, what do they call them? These holidays. Wouldn't it be nice if we had a time where all of us had a field day? Where everybody on the planet, well, what does that mean? It means you just kick back, relax into yourself. You don't do anything. Period. It'd be interesting to see how that what kind of frequency and energy level that would emit. When you learn that you don't have to do anything because everything is yours already, and the only thing that you haven't figured out is how to magnetize yourself to have it come to you. See? So it comes to you effortlessly. Now, we've been taught, that's just wishful thinking. That's not possible. Can't do that. You got to work hard. You got to do, you got to work very, very, very hard to get the things you want in life and to live life. You're not going to be able to just coast, right? That's a waste of time. You got to be doing something. You've got to be productive. How many times you've heard that? You can't just sit around like a bump on the log. Every moment of existence that we have with these bodies, we're doing something. We've all been trained for so long to do it that way. In a slave environment, that's the way. You program the slaves that they must work very, very, very hard. And interesting, and maybe some of you know this, but an interesting fact here in our country is that when, you go and you work and you work and you work, and if you're fortunate enough, you don't bounce all over the place, you stay at one company and you're there for 20, 30 years, roughly. And you retire. On the average, every retiree, after 5 years, is out of the body. Now, not everybody, of course, but majority, after about 5 years of being retired, they leave the body. Why is that? Well, because they've been so conditioned of working and working and working and working and working and getting up early in the morning and going to work, like many of us do, and then coming home, having the regimen, doing our thing. And you do that for 20, 30 years. Some people 40. You are acclimated to it. That's your modus operandi. That's your agenda. That is your process that you have embraced for a very long time. I remember when my mother, when she finally said that she just not going to work anymore. She did that when she was 78. She was still working because she wanted to. Then she finally said at 78, she says, I'm not going to do this anymore. It's a lot more difficult. It takes too much out of me. So see, it's kind of deeply embedded in us. We call it a work ethic and that type of thing. And so we're also laden with guilt. Right? The guilt comes out when we feel that we shouldn't be just laying around, we should be doing something. Right? As guilt comes in. Or you can be enjoying something but not to the fullest because you're still holding on and saying, I'm not going to be able to do this much longer because I've got to do all these other things. I can't enjoy myself. I've got to get this work done. And that's how it works. Many of us right now on this planet are saying that to ourselves. I cannot enjoy myself right now. I have got to work. Now, isn't that strange? So in other words, you don't enjoy your work. No, they don't. When I did interviews, extensive interviews for major corporations years ago, I'm bringing and doing whole staffs, engineering staff, sales staffs, and everything for the company. I would add that one question. I would ask, "Do you enjoy what you're doing?" Right? And if they're unemployed, I would say, "What is it that you enjoy doing?" And the answers were absolutely off the charts in so many different ways. People would say, Like, I would ask them, do you enjoy what you're doing now, your job? And they would say, sometimes it's okay. But the reason I'm doing it is because I got to pay my bills. That's it. Okay? That's a slave structure. Create the bills so that the slaves have to work, so that the slaves have to pay the bills. Create debt so that slaves have to work in order to pay their debts. And we're so used to it, we don't know anything else. Lifetime after lifetime. Some of us now are starting to wake up and say, wait a minute, I don't have to do any of this stuff. And you don't. But many people have never thought about it. Then they get the fear feeling. When they start thinking that, say, they start worrying, well, I don't have a job. How am I going to support myself? See, we're taught, and it's embedded into us, that we're powerless. We don't have any power. That we're insignificant, that we're small, easily controlled, manipulated, and led. And many of us believe that way. So most of us are working jobs we don't like. That's it, bottom line. Across the board. This was years ago, too. This was back in the 70s, late 70s, when I was training, recruiting and training people for companies across the planet. And the consensus then was that people don't like their jobs. And they only do them, they're forced to do them in order to live. That's the bottom line. Can you imagine that? And none of them really think about it. It's like dronedom. You just do it. You're just like a drone or a zombie. You just do it. Okay? And it's always the way. Fridays, people go, that worked at the regular 5-day work week. And on average, some work Saturdays, some work Sundays too. And they go, oh God, thank God it's Friday. TGIF restaurant kind of came off of that. Some of you are probably familiar with those restaurants. So what did people do on Fridays after they got off work? Well, they would go and get drunk or overindulge in things, and then they would have the weekend. And then the weekend would be so fast because they were cramming everything into the weekend that they wanted to do, that they enjoyed doing, that they were so exhausted by the time Sunday night rolled around that they probably needed another day or two to recover so that they could be fresh to go to work. That's how it works. That's how it goes. Now, what would happen? What will happen, I should say, when that isn't there anymore? When people, they'll do things, but their prime objective will be to help each other. That's it. That's going to be the prime objective, helping each other. And the quiet time of this meditation, you look at that from the heart mind. What does that really mean? Okay? Helping each other. What is that? Okay, so, all right, yeah, I help people, and blah, blah, blah. No, it means that on your waking hours, that's what you do. You look to help people. Who can I help today? You will have the financial abundance, so you're not going to be, you'll put forth effort or work in areas that you enjoy or want to learn more about. Not like now. See, it's very different. And this is where, as suggestion, we should be focusing our energies. Forming this new earth, forming the God Planet Paradise, putting the infrastructure in place. And it is our beliefs that will do that. Now, if we continue to believe that we were small and powerless, don't believe, then you're not going to walk into new earth. You will stay in the old earth. And maybe have so many lifetimes until you get it. The hardest thing for I think the majority of us is to let go. It's to let go. It's to surrender. And the ego mind says, you can't do that because then we'll lose everything. And that's not what it means at all. What you're doing when you say, I'm letting go, it means that you're letting go of your attachments and your expectations. Doesn't mean the stuff's gone or you're going to lose it. It just means, hey, I'm enjoying it in the moment. I know it's temporary, so I'm not attached to it. You ever been in a situation where someone says to you, are you attached to that? I mean, is that very significant to you, for you? And you go, not really. So you'd sell it to me if I made you an offer. It may be. You see? And then there's people that say, oh no, I hold this, whatever it is, dearly, and I'd never sell it. And then someone comes along and says to them, well, I really like that. I'd like to buy that from you. Oh, it's not for sale. Okay? Now, some people stick to that, but the majority will start to slip and say, well, make me an offer, we'll talk about it. It's just letting go. It's letting go. Some things we hold on to because, why? Memories. They jog our memory. That's why we hold on to them. They're kind of reminders for us. And whatever it is that we look at or use or anything at times, I remember when. It's like Christmas ornaments, right? The holiday ornaments. And, I remember when I got this one. This was, whatever year, and I remember what was going on then. They're kind of memory joggers, these things. People call them keepsakes. Okay? And some of us keep them. And we enjoy them. And we also know that eventually we'll leave the body, and then who knows where they'll go. Someone else will have them, whatever. But this is all about us learning not the material physical world, but the spiritual world. There's a huge difference there. See, in the material physical world, you've been taught to go out and work or find a way to make enough money so that you're comfortable. Right? Pretty much it. In the spiritual world, you have learned that you are the wellspring. You are the magnet of prosperity, wealth, and abundance. You attract it. And you learn to have 100% confidence, faith, and trust in yourself and the universe. Not 50%, but 100%, full boat, full tilt. At all times, that's what the universe and yourself. That's spiritual. That's the spiritual existence. And we know that, hey, I'm in this body. I'm deeply grateful for being in this body. I'm deeply grateful to have a body. And my position is to enjoy life. Not think about when I'm going to leave the body like a lot of people do in this very moment, are thinking that right now. And they don't know, but they're focused on it, so they're accelerating it. Isn't that crazy? But they don't know it. They accelerate their own demise of leaving the body by focusing on it. And it is so crucial for us, and it's a choice, of course, because people can't be forced this way. So you either embrace it or you don't. So those of us who embrace it will end up in New Earth. Those who don't won't until they incarnate again or so many other times till they get it and understand it. See, it's twisted. It's backwards. That's the whole point. It's all backwards for us. And instead of knowing we're the God in the body, the pure consciousness, we are attached to the physical material. And now, what is the natural state? Natural state is the opposite. You don't go and get things. You attract things to you. That's the difference. See, in the material physical world, you're demagnetized. That's what you're taught. You've got to go after things. Go get them. Get them. And in reality, true reality, they're already yours. It's just opening up a door and saying, okay, come on in. This is why so many people get so frustrated. When it's said that everybody on this planet will be wealthy, how many actually believe that? You don't know. How many people will believe that? Has this species, this civilization, become so cynical, so negative, so untrusting with themselves and others that they don't ever see it? We are what we believe. This isn't rocket science. We all know that. But we are what we believe. So if you believe something, that's what you are. If you believe you're flesh and blood and that you have a life expectancy of anywhere from 50 to 75 years, on average, then that's what it's going to be. Now, if you believe that you live forever and you're not the body, that's different. You watch and many will be there to experience it, but we will get to a level of comprehension where we will heal our bodies. Anything that's going on with the body, we'll say, okay, all right, let's fix that body. Whatever, generating stem cells or anything like that, and causing new tissue, new growth, and restored health. It's like you say, well, I broke my leg, so you focus on the leg and you heal it. And the bone has healed everything. And you don't have any pain. Now, isn't that something? But that lies within all of us. All of us. Now, either you embrace it or you don't. Either you think, hey, this is something. Or you think, oh, it's more wishful thinking and made up stuff. Once we understand that we have no limitations, only those that we put on ourselves, through society, that any of us can do anything we choose, have anything we choose, whenever we choose. That's a whole different way of comprehending and living than how most do today. There's no levels in this civilization. There's no levels. There's no material physical levels of the elite and the rich and the poor and the middle class, and that is material physical. It doesn't really exist. We are all one, no matter how much the lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies do to redirect us away from that. Eventually, we're all going to return to it. And nothing can stop that. All that we are, ever have been, ever will be, ever beyond and forever is pure consciousness. It's what we are. Balls of light. It's so bright that you could have 1,000 suns sitting behind us in our true form, and the suns would pale. And that's not figuratively, that's literally. The suns would pale to the bright light that we are. Doesn't it make sense? We create the suns. We create the universes. We create it all. Not knowingly. We aren't there yet. But many of us throughout existence are there now. They know that. It's not ego mind. Ego mind was mastered long eons ago. And you can see that as you progress on your spiritual journey. you begin to understand that makes sense to me, because we're all experiencing. Once we plug into it and we understand that we're all one, that means that you can tap in to all the greatest masters, all the gurus, all the prophets, all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever, and literally know it, tap into it, wherever it is in existence. See, when you're part of all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever, it doesn't matter. Oh, I'm small. It has nothing to do with it. You're the drop. You're the golden drop of the golden ocean. You contain the same essence as that ocean. It's true. So why would any of us believe otherwise? That we're all that ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. That we are great grand master creators, supremely powerful spiritual beings that are immortal and never die. We take on physical form for the mere enjoyment of experience. That's it. When we're out of the body, we don't bleed, we don't have broken bones, we don't eat, we don't sleep, we don't have sex, we don't do any of that stuff. That's physical material. So in order for us to learn as the gods that we are, we enter the physical material to experience it. Unfortunately, we don't know who and what we are. And the majority of the times throughout the eons, we just have never discovered that. We enter a life, we have the life, we leave the life, we enter a life, we have the life, we leave the life. That's what we've been doing. So, in the quiet time of this meditation, as you ease into your body and relax, as you focus on your breath rising and falling, as you're as still as a statue and you're not being interrupted, look and be with the God, the pure consciousness that you are, through your heart, and embrace it all. Not one of those little chest pumps, where people hug that way. I'm talking about full body hug, body to body. Embrace the God that you are. I'll join you in meditation, and I'll return to close this out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Focus on your breath rising and falling. You can manifest anything. You have the natural power inside you to attract anything. Any of us do. Any amount of money. Any special being. Any amazing experience. Anything that you desire. We're all magical, manifesting beings. Whatever it is that we want or need in this life, we can totally have it. If we are willing to relax into feeling that it is already ours. Can you imagine the reality of it? Can you feel your dream life is already here now? What does receiving your dream life actually feel like? Can you describe it in deep detail? Let's imagine that I was your best friend, and you're describing in detail the most amazing movie you have ever seen about your life. And yes, you're watching in a magical manifesting theater. What did you see? What happened? How did you feel when the movie ended? Did you feel satisfied? This deeply satisfied feeling of relief is the place for us to hang out and practice deepening into all day long. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning. And we will return here Wednesday, July 31st, 2024. A little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. And a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our time for change call. We're going to discuss on there, amongst many things, a formulation that's we got to get to everybody we can, because it grows back appendages. It does tremendous things. And there's no synthetics, and there's no chemicals, and it's organic, and the body loves it. And we have a lot of proof. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on out there or in here. Open your heart wide. Let the magic, allow the magic to flood in.